Okay, this chat is mainly to check out equipment. I'm using the new microphone, but I'm using a different computer. And this computer is one of my wife's old computers. So I'm wanting to see if I can get the pop out of it. I'm thinking the pop sound might have to do with the connections of the cables into my antique computer. So we'll find out. And I can listen to this later and hear for myself. But if anyone wants to hop in and let me know, that would be awesome. Okay. Apparently, this Twitch thing is sending me messages. So, okay. It shows that it's playing, I guess. I don't know. I can't hear it. But if someone left a comment on over there, that would be awesome so I could see that it's working. And let me see. I need to go to YouTube, probably to my channel. And let me see. Videos, share, copy link, and I don't know where anyone would see it to hop on. I'll drop it in Matt's thing. Maybe someone will see it. And let me see. Okay, so one's dropped in there. And I'll do another one. So I'm doing these on my phone if anyone's listening to this later. And I'm streaming on the computer. And I'll drop one more link out here. And I'll put that in my Discord. So don't know how to drop a link to my Discord in the chat though. Um, anyways, I can figure that out at some point. The main thing's the audio. And figuring out how bad my audio is or how good the audio is because I've had problems with it. And I think my main problem is just having an ancient computer that's been used more as like a coaster than anything else. It's been a coaster. So it's kind of what it is. So I get comments up here. Okay, it shows my link for StreamYard on Twitch and on YouTube. It won't show me Rumble comments on StreamYard. But I'm not broadcasting to Rumble right now because I have to come up with a new thing and it's a new computer. And for some reason, I can't find the file that I was using and I don't know what the file that comes up is. And I'll have to figure that out. One way or the other, I'll have to figure it out. Let me see. There we go. Cool. Says I can update logos. So I'd have to download it to file. Okay. I can do that at another point. So there's another logo that I do want to use for another chat that I'm going to do. At some point, I'm actually going to do my motorcycle chat. And Barbecue was nice enough to hook me up with a logo that has a tire track across it. And I'm going to use that one. I might just use that one for like the motorcycle chats. I don't know. I'm going to have some patches at some point drawn up and printed. I just got back to work though. And then I've been out with COVID. So that's always lovely. Okay, the squishy thing was kind of slid off my mic. So I'm saying that out loud just so I know when I'm watching this later that I slid the thing back down. What do you call that? I believe it's actually called a windscreen or something. At least on a headset mic it is. And I'll see from there how it sounds, if that makes more pop or more crackle or anything else. If I could get someone in here, that would be awesome. I could play with it. Let me see. There's a comment in the comments. Vanessa Kitty. Hi, Vanessa. How's my sound? That's the main thing I'm checking out is the audio, the sound, because I've usually got that popping noise for some reason. And 5x5. Cool. Is there any popping noise in there? Because that's what I'm trying to get out of it. The last chat that I did, I was listening to it, and I could keep the actual audio was better. So the mic seems to work for that. But I kept getting this popping noise. And I think what that is something to do with the connection when you hook the cable up to the computer. Because I'm using a computer that nothing was ever connected up to. And it was mainly used for a coaster for the better part of, 14 years. And maybe that's got an effect on it. I'm not sure. No popping noises here. Awesome. So that may solve my problem. My wife got a new computer. Well, she went to get a new job and she got a new computer to keep all her files and stuff on. And she's a nurse and she usually does like home health care and that sort of thing. And she didn't like the place that she hired on with. She quit one job to go to another, and apparently there were issues with that place. And kind of like me, she protects her license. And my license is to drive, and of course I've got clearances and all kinds of cards and everything else. But she has her nursing license to worry about, and she didn't like how things were being done. So she's looking for a new job, and we've both been out anyways this week with COVID. So that's always awesome. COVID Part 3. One of those things that should have never been a trilogy, so. But it is, and I can say this time was actually a little better, except for the exhaustion, where it's like having energy for a little while and then you just lose it and you're tired and you go to bed and that's it. I'm not coughing so bad today. I may have some coughing fits, but I'll try to mute it. And speaking of, hold on. Let me. Okay. I don't know, maybe that's mental. Start thinking about coughing and then have to cough. But the last time I had COVID, it felt like my lungs were filled with plaster of Paris. This time it was just more coughing up a whole bunch of stuff and exhaustion. I never felt like I was going to die, if that makes sense. So that part's good. Last time it did a number on my lungs, so I don't need any worse done to them. But anyways, my wife got a new computer, and I got this old little tiny Chromebook thing that she used to use, and I thought I would log into it and log into my accounts and see if I could stream from it and see how it sounds. So, say that right. The next time you'll be golden. Oh. I'm also on Twitch. I also tried out a banner thing, so I put that up there. If any of y'all have Twitch and you log in over there, I am also Tara Smith's Kitchen on Twitch with the same logo. So I should be easy to find, and I'm the same on Rumble. Yeah, I could have been. I couldn't get an appointment in with the doctor. I could get a telemed appointment, and the closest appointment I could get was like the 28th, and it's like, hey, I've got COVID. I tested positive, and I don't even think the doctors give a fuck anymore. You know, they've moved on to the next thing. Maybe I should have said I had monkeypox or something, then they'd care. Which I heard an article. I don't know if it was one of those, what do you call them? Like a troll or a parody thing, or if it was for real, but it was saying something about possibility of an outbreak in San Francisco. Would make sense. I've got some friends out there. It's actually a beautiful city, or it was a beautiful city. I haven't been there since they've had to deal with having poop patrols and all that stuff. Before then, it was beautiful. Kind of sucked to deliver it in a truck just because it's not made for a vehicle that's that big. And you'd end up like on the end of a subdivision delivering to some meat warehouse or wherever. And when you leave, you've got all these high lines over you for the trolleys, and you're thinking you're going to drag all of them down because they're so low. And you're going up and downhill. I'm pretty sure Barbecue can attest to that one. And I don't know if he ever delivered out in San Francisco. But yeah, that's a trip. It was more fun to go on a vacation. That me and my wife went, oh God, like 10 years ago. I secured a truck over in Riverside, and we rented like a Monte Carlo and went to Hearst Castle and went flying up the coast. I was scaring the hell out of her because I'm sliding around the corners and everything, and went up to Fisherman's Wharf and then up to Wine Country and all that good stuff. And we had fun. Beautiful place, but their laws are just too insane. It's like some place that looks like it used to be a really, really good place to live at one time, and then the politics screwed it all up, So, who knows? see, Patriot in the Dark. Hello, how are you? And of course, G23 and Barbecue. Vanessa Kitty was in there, so hello to all of you. And PNW Woods. Washington State is all that. Yes, it is. Washington State is beautiful. I used to pick up like apples and pears out of Kashmir. Used to pick up in Moses Lake and Spokane. And Amy took a ride with me in the truck one time, and we went up there when all the cherry blossoms were in bloom, and it was absolutely beautiful. And I had a run for a while that, let me see, I would pick up and, what is that? Down by the TA on I-10 in Arizona. Eurofresh down there. I can't, TA, I think it used to be a Rip-Offs. Rip Griffins. But I'd pick up and I'd start dropping south of Salt Lake. And, it's like tomatoes and peppers and everything. And I used to live in Kashmir. Yeah, it's a beautiful canyon going up to there. But like coming off of, what is that? 90, I think it is. But you go up through to Flagstaff and you go up, what is that? 89 or 17, something like that. But you go all the way up to 70 on the east side of the mountain range. And if it's snowing, you do not want to take that shortcut like you're going to the Walmart DC down there by the gorge. You want to keep going up to 70. Don't worry about going over Soldier because that's going to be slimy as hell. You just cut over to 15 and you'd start dropping off. And you would end up at either like Seattle or Portland. And then you'd have to pick up a load and come back. So that's how I'd end up in Kashmir and all those kind of places. I watched a guy drive forks first off on the ground in Kashmir at, what is that, Crunch Pack? And if you buy the little sliced apples and stuff at the grocery store, Walmart, what have you, and you see Crunch Pack, Kashmir, Washington, that's where I'm talking about. And what happened was they'd made the mistake of giving the driver the bills, and he thought he was loaded. So he goes and he pulls out of the dock, and they were putting one last pallet on the trailer. So he pulls out as the forklift's going on the trailer, and the forklift lands fork first. Guy broke his arm. Guy went to the hospital. And yeah, that doesn't end up pretty good. Let me see. You spent your 8th grade summer running the roads in Seattle. And was a lot nicer back. Yeah, my mom used to live in Sequim, Washington. They moved there because of my stepfather, his allergies. They were in the rain shadow of the mountain over, I think, like by John Wayne Marina. But she lived there for a while. My sisters went to school up there for a while. Long after I was done graduated. I was done discharged by then. But let me see. You used to work at Crunch Pack? When? I may have met you in person. Who knows? I haven't ran a reefer in years, though, because that would have been before 2008. Well, I've ran a reefer since 2008, but I had a box fan, and when I sold my box fan, I still pulled a box fan. The only time I pulled a reefer when I was leased at Landstar was sometimes around the holidays. I do a Walmart thing for them. And because I had reefer experience, a bunch of reefer experience, they would put me on the reefer. So I go to all the Walmart stores and everything with a Walmart trailer. I'd do that during the holidays. But before then, I pulled a reefer trailer for quite a few years. And when I first started buying my own trucks, I had a reefer trailer. But I really stopped pulling reefers in 2008. So were you the manager then? Oh, 2008 to 2012. Hey, there's a chance we could have met. Do you remember the experience that I'm talking about? The guy that drove off the dock and got hurt? Or do you remember who that was? Because that's what happened. I was there when it happened. They and you'll know what I'm talking about. The You're not supposed to give a driver the bills until the load is done. Everything's on the trailer for that specific reason, and that's why people started pulling the airlines and dock locks and taking keys and everything else. But you don't want to give the driver the bills because half the time they're half asleep anyways and they think they're loaded. And they go out to the trailer, they go to pull out of the dock and shut the doors and they're not even loaded yet. But it'd be cool if you knew the incident that I was talking about. That happened right before you took over shipping. So you know the incident I'm talking about. Cool. I think he broke his arm or something, didn't he? From what I remember. I don't think he broke his neck. I think it was his arm. He hurt something pretty good. I remember he went to the hospital. I'm thinking that little cage on the forklift landed on some part of his body. So, but yeah, it was a pretty cool place to load though. It's not as good as loading ice cream because then you get like free ice cream and they'd put ice cream back by the pulp door and you'd have to get out a piece of ice cream, like an ice cream bar or something. You'd put a thermometer in it, check it, and yep, the temperature's good, and you'd eat the ice cream bar walking back up to the cab. Apples are great, but ice cream's better. And, well, eat all you can kind of thing. Breyers was like that in Houston. And the cheap ice cream you can take through the mountains because it's not packed with air. The expensive ice cream, if you take it through the mountains, it'll pop all the lids off of it because it's filled with so much air. So you're actually getting more ice cream if you get the cheap stuff. So reefer trailer had a different meaning. I believe you. Yeah. Yeah. Especially now in Washington. That's something actually, I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of miss, but I like having a CDL. I like being able to make a living, and unfortunately, you can't get a good job. I got a federal license, so it doesn't matter if it's legal in the state or not if you can't pass a drug test. And I don't know how much that thing's picking up, but I don't know. It's just like they should just make that legal nationwide. Oh, he ended up losing his arm. It tore the mast off the forklift, and he ended up losing his arm. Yeah, that. Hold on. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, I always kind of wondered what happened to him. But anyways, maybe one day when I retire, as far as the other stuff, but I've got to have a job. But I don't know anybody else's opinion on that. I just don't see why it should be illegal. Especially, I can see the other stuff. I've seen the other stuff bring people down pretty hard. There's kind of like the libertarian aspect to me that let people do what they want to their own bodies. But I've lost a few friends. That's just one of them things that, if alcohol is going to be legal, well, yeah, that should be legal. Actually, I think technically it still is federally if you can get the tax stamp for it, which is what they made it illegal. You had to have the stamp, and they just didn't issue any stamps. So, yeah, I congratulate drugs for winning the war on drugs. Oh, HR wouldn't let you fire the guy. Yeah, I've been to much worse places, though. I used to deliver to West Texas, as in the town of West Texas. That's when I had a dry van, and I would do concerts and shows in the summertime. And in the wintertime, I would do hazmat because that stuff would slow down. Excuse me. Um, I do like WrestleMania, Coachella, football games, baseball games, basketball games, all kinds of stuff. But you really want to hit that show season whenever things moving. And you're hauling like track lighting, cable switches, fiber boxes, all kinds of stuff for those events. But then you're doing shows like gun shows. You have the booth for whatever company's putting their booth out there, or a quilting show or a Comic-Con or whatever it is. You have their booth and you're carrying it in your trailer. And I do that through that season, and all winter I would do hazmat. And one of the loads that I would haul out of New Jersey were these pellets that went into fertilizer. And we would take that down to this plant in West Texas, the town of West Texas. And you could smell that place from miles away. It's one of them that was just dirty, and you always had the feeling like something was going to happen there. And it eventually did. And I think it leveled half the town when that plant blew up. So, but that happens at places that are, insane on safety, to the point that you're like, really, you're just an asshole. But they still blow up, like ITC in Houston. That place is always crazy about safety and complying with everything, and they blew up. I was hauling NAFTA, and what blew up? The NAFTA. And there's a few other, most of the places I haul at blow up at least once every 2 or 3 years. It's just kind of part of the job. It's like these refineries, every so many years they blow up, and you almost think it's planned. Legalized drugs take away the money incentives. Yeah, that would end most of the gang violence right there. I'm not saying you wouldn't have another problem. You would, because you're not going to get rid of drugs. And it's something, I don't know if you believe in like the stone date theory or what have you, or you just want to read back through the history of human civilization and where we get all these medicines and all the tribal people that we copy what they do and synthesize the plants that they use to make our modern medicines. But we've been getting stoned for a long time. I was stoned in the womb. My parents were hippies. Yeah. You're just not going to get rid of it. There's going to be homeless people. There's people who want to be homeless. That's kind of like a life. They want to live that life. And then there's people like me. I've been homeless, and then I crawled my way out of it. I wanted out of it. And that's going to be there. But then the violent aspect of the drugs, with the gangs and the cartels and that sort of thing, it would clean up a lot of things in the United States and Mexico and a bunch of different companies. Not companies. Might as well say companies, instead of countries. That's essentially what they are. It's like the company of the United States. That's about what it's become. But that's also not saying that the crime is going to actually go away if we did that. Because the other aspect to it is the crime organizations have gotten so large that they will find something else to go into. Probably something more legitimate, more I want to say respectable, like you watch those mafia movies and it's like they don't want to get into the drugs or, keep the drugs in the ghetto or what have you. They're talking about that like that's something they didn't want to touch. And, they'll keep it in with, they got a shipment of avocados or something going in. They'll find ways to still do stuff, but I still think that would be better than the drugs and like the fentanyl and all that, which is actually what killed my biological father. The man did heroin for over 40 years. He came back from Vietnam with a problem with that. He had an addiction to Harleys and heroin, and he finally got a hold of some that had the fentanyl in it, and it killed him deader than a doornail. But hey, he was nearly 70 years old. That's pretty old for a heroin addict. That's probably thanks to the VA and a few other things, the prison system, cleaning him up for a while and then getting back on it and cleaning him up and getting him back on it. And at a certain point, they're not getting clean. Yeah, if you create indoor plumbing, no one will poop in the street. Oh, wait. Yeah, exactly. Although, if you've ever been someplace like that looking for a restroom and everything's pay to play, I guess that's something people from small towns don't get. And I grew up in a small town. My graduating class had 28 people in it. That's the entire 12th grade was 28 people. But some of these big places, you don't have rights to their restrooms. Hey, Tactical FUD, what's up? And you got to buy something. And if you don't have money or you don't want to buy anything, you can't use the restroom. And I can show you places that still have a quarter toilet. A pay toilet, meaning you have to put a quarter in the door and turn it to use the restroom. And that's to ensure that someone's paying something to use their restroom. So then restroom access gets limited. And that's another issue we have on our legal system where some things get used for things that they shouldn't. Like you look at the sex offender registries. You have in your mind what you think of as a sex offender. The guy that flashes people naked under a trench coat, rapists, that sort of thing, molesters, that sort of thing. And it's filled up with all these people that get caught drunk taking a piss or who are stuck in traffic taking a piss on the side of the road. And now they're a registered sex offender when they weren't exposing themselves to anyone but a tire, but the cops got to justify his job. And, why can't we not put people, why can't we recognize that's a different thing instead of wasting tax dollars and time? And then we could put those resources into whatever needs to be done with the people that those sort of things are actually intended for. If that makes sense. It's like these people should not be included in that group. Stop wasting my money by tracking and recording and keeping paperwork on them and ruining their lives and extra court cases and all that kind of stuff. It's a waste of my tax dollar that is being stolen from me to begin with. So I don't know anyone else's thoughts on that, but things get used in areas they shouldn't. I'm not saying people should go in the street, but yeah, it keeps them from getting own firearms and stuff too. That's a good point. Have you ever been in a traffic jam where you're stuck there for hours and hours and hours and you see people getting out of their car and, they've got to go and they try to hold blankets up and everything else. And that, I've seen it in places, even in California, I've seen a cop writing tickets for that. Some place like Louisiana, though, you automatically go to jail for exposure. and truck driver pull over on the side of the road, and he's not exposing himself to anyone. Cop pulls up behind him, and he gets charged right there. A lot of stuff depends on the state you're in, and some of the states still have their state laws based in Napoleonic law. That would be more any of them that were part of like the Louisiana Purchase, and that Louisiana is one of them, which is has a lot more to do with intent than whether you actually did anything. Sort of interesting to look up if you've never looked into that sort of thing. Several reasons I think it's unconstitutional. But it is what it is. We're not going to change it. And I'm not a citizen of those states, so I don't think they care about my opinion. Do any of y'all have a Twitch? If you do, could you hop over there and leave me a comment just so I can see it come up on this end? I would appreciate it if you could. That would be awesome. Because I'm testing that site out. My son set me up with a channel over there, and I don't seem to be able to watch my videos later. But seemingly I can see the video when it's actually playing. Like, let me pull up my phone, and it should be on here. Let me see. Like, here's Twitch. Hopefully this don't squeal. Okay, there's a delay on there. Let me turn the volume down. I'm going to put a message on it. And I want to see if it comes up. Yes, it did. Cool. Oh, you don't have a Twitch. Oh, I get what you were saying. Yeah. Yeah. No, my son set me up with that because he's a little gamer boy, and he's like, you got to go on Twitch, you got to do this, you got to do that, and I don't know. I don't think I appeal to that young market anyways, but it's another platform. Considering all the stuff that I cover, most of my stuff is cooking. It's a cooking channel, if it's anything, but I do include a little bit of my politics on the actual chats, like stuff to do with trucking or firearms or that sort of thing, or whatever's going on at the time. And I do have a few firearms videos if y'all haven't seen them. You know how YouTube gets. So to have another platform that I can go to if they decide to nuke me is good. So everything I have is backed up to Rumble. So anything that goes on YouTube, which is what I primarily broadcast to, is backed up over on Rumble. And it will play on Rumble. It's usually delayed, though, unless I'm dual streaming. Right now, I'm not dual streaming to Rumble because I need to set up, I guess, another thing on this computer or what have you, because it makes you do like a little short video for a placeholder. And I couldn't find anything in my files for that. What I was using was on my other computer, so I'll have to download something for it. And I have to put that on this one so I can do the dual streaming. I guess it's technically tri-streaming because I'm usually doing YouTube, Twitch, and Rumble. But anything that I do on YouTube a few hours later will show on Rumble. And that's more of a backup kind of thing. And if you do have a Rumble, I am also Tara Smith's Kitchen on Rumble, and I do need Rumbles for the algorithm over there. If y'all could help me out, that would be greatly appreciated. So this one will probably show in a few hours. The live stream will show where you're playing, and then as soon as you stop, it'll show the whatchamacallit, the test thing for a little while, and then a few hours later it'll show the live stream. So it's when I'm dual streaming, it'll end up I'll have two chats of the same chat over on Rumble, so it's saved twice. Did you hear about the Montana congressman that introduced carry reciprocity? We need national reciprocity. I haven't tried Odyssey yet. I've been focusing more on learning YouTube, and I'm starting to branch out. I've been thinking about doing Odyssey. There's a few people that I watch, like Paul Harrell, and they've got channels over on Odyssey, and I probably need to start an Odyssey account. I just haven't done it yet. G23, if you want to hop in, I would actually like to hear about that. I'm testing this computer out anyway, so I want to hear how it sounds. And if there's like feedback between the mic and the computer. I just dropped another link out there if one of y'all want to hop in. I see all kinds of weird stuff because I'm involved in different communities where I don't know. I don't think anyone's one-sided. You know, they think, oh, well, this person's just a gun guy, or they're just a motorcycle girl, or whatever, you know. There's like different facets. And of course, you know, I get a lot of the left-wing stuff because I have a lot of friends that, you know, I'm in that community, you know, as far as the GLBT community. It's gotten a little bit crazy for me. And for a lot of the, for lack of a better term, a lot of the older queers, it's like, yeah, y'all have kind of lost us at this point. The new generation has just gone off the deep end. But then I'm also involved with motorcycles and that community, and I like cars and tools and trucking, and you know, and the, you know, stuff with trucking. Obviously, it's my income, and of course the gun community, and you know, more constitutional aspects of that. So it's, you know, involved in different communities, so you get to hear different viewpoints of the same topic, and I think that helps out in the long run because you don't get stuck in a bubble. Okay, let me see if I can make you join here. All right, I think you're in the show. It shows up different.
Yep. Thanks for the invite.
Awesome. I don't know how to turn the volume up on this thing.
Oh, yeah. It's just like pretty much one volume. But yeah, I think he's a congressman out of Montana. He introduced national reciprocity, so that if your state's constitutional carry, then whatever state you go to, you still can carry constitutionally. If your state has concealed carry license, then your state's concealed license is recognized in all 50 states. um, and everything. So, he's trying to make it so that he's like, if the driver's license, which is just a privilege, is allowed to be recognized in all 50 states, then the constitutional right should be allowed to be recognized in all 50 states.
They're the Patriot of Arts comment. That would help me out tremendously. Now, there's still problems that I have because of what I haul. There are places that I cannot go in with a firearm. I'm not saying that's never happened, but it's weird. It's like you go to Hawthorne, Nevada, and Naval Undersea Station and Army Supply Depot, and it's ammunition, but you never think of Naval Undersea Station in Nevada, but they used to do subs and stuff there, testing Big Lake. And, the guys, they show up and they're in like this blacked out Crown Vic, a sports coat and fatigue pants, and they got a big hog leg, and you automatically know they're contractors. I have enough friends that are contractors. And the guy's like, you got any weapons in the truck? He's like, no, before you say anything. If I can't see them, they don't exist. Oh, no, man, I ain't got shit. And you go and you do whatever you got to do. It depends on where you are. The difference would be if you got caught or something like that. Whatchamacallit, playing with this a little bit. But then, going through states, and a lot of times, if I'm going to carry on the road, it's not going to be this thing here. Well, sorry, I'm not turning my camera on right now. Not exactly presentable, but it's right here, 226 MK25. Great handgun, awesome sights, but it doesn't comply with certain states. So generally on the road, what I'll carry is a 1911. And one of the reasons, well, I've always loved 1911s. And one of the reasons that was the first gun that I bought when I started buying guns again was the capacity versus caliber, that sort of thing. And 45 is not that powerful a cartridge. I know a lot of people will balk at that, but it's big, it's heavy, it's slow, it hits like a sledgehammer. It doesn't have a whole lot of penetrative power, which is one of the things I like about it. And the capacity, if you're just using even an extended magazine in one, you're going to meet compliance for states that only allow you to have, X amount of rounds in your handgun. And then you have to go from them states into states like New Jersey, who technically you can travel through New Jersey legally with a firearm. Just as if you were going to a range or anywhere else, you have to comply with the same laws that the citizens of that state have to comply with. Problem is, if they find that gun in your truck, which, you would stop, you would take to comply with them, you would take the firearm off, you would separate the ammunition from the gun, locked in two separate places you can't get close to, and you'd put a bolt through the chamber, and you're still going to lose that gun, and you're still probably going to take a ride. You'll get out of it, but, depending on the ammo too, that's another thing is, I wouldn't carry hollow points and stuff like that for that reason of states like New Jersey. That's even more problem. I could probably get out of everything else, but then they would get me on the ammo.
But if this bill that he just introduced goes through, none of that will matter anymore, because under the reciprocity, whatever is allowed in your specific state, mm-hmm. right? So if you're a concealed carry, if you're a constitutional carry state, that, you can have a standard capacity 30 round mag, guess what? If you go into New Jersey, you can still have that 30 round mag. You can still have your hollow points. All that is all then covered under the new concealed carry, the reciprocity.
Hold on one second. I'm sorry. That was my son.
That's all right.
But yeah, especially in my occupation, that would be awesome because I travel. I mean, still, I'm not going to be able to go into Canada or something. There's a way to do that. Not go in with it. Do not show up at the border with a gun. But
yeah, there is a way you can take your firearm into Canada, even if you're just, but you have to declare it. You have to have all the you have to have it all documented and all the paperwork in order before you ever even think about getting to the border.
Well, what we would do, a lot of the gun stores and stuff like that close to the border are queued in to what's going on. And you call ahead and say, hey, I have this firearm that needs to be cleaned and I've got to go into Canada. Can I drop it off and y'all can clean it and I'll pay you for it and pick it up when I come back, and let them know about the time that you're going to come back, and your gun would be there safely stored. It would be clean. And hey, get off of there. Dennis, lay down. Sorry. Have a jealous mastiff in the bed. But no, you would pick up the gun, it'd be cleaned, and you'd be ready to go. So there's different ways of getting around things, but it's like in Texas, you do not have an endorsement for a motorcycle license. You have a completely separate license. Your class of license, like you have your class A, your class B, your class C, and your class M. My license is an AM. I made the joke that I could only drive in the morning, and the lady at the DMV had no sense of humor whatsoever. But some states it's an endorsement, and then some states you don't need it at all, as long as you have your class C, that covers it. Yeah. And you go to a different state, that doesn't change. Your state, it's not required. It's going to be whoever issued that license. Dennis, get over here.
Yeah, the only thing is like if you're riding a bike and your state doesn't require a helmet, but you go into another state that requires a helmet, you have to have that helmet.
Hold on. I just got all tangled up. I don't know how loud that was. The microphone dropped. I'm sitting here on the edge of my bed, and I've got all these wires going everywhere. And I have a mastiff that hopped up in the bed who wants attention. So can you still hear me?
Oh, yeah. We can still hear you.
Okay. Well, yeah, he's... Yeah, it would depend on, whatever the requirement was for the license that you have. But then, I don't know, there's too many things that I guess are beyond my pay grade that you could question on that one, where one state's allowed to do something and you're not allowed to do it, and they're in your state, and why. But you're not going to restrict them. I think there'd be some grounds of some states that have more restrictions being able to get rid of those restrictions based on the fact that someone else can come in their state and legally do so. And they're not even a citizen of that state. So, it's like, why can't I? Like say if you have a 10-round magazine limit and someone can come in your state with a 20 round magazine because it's allowed in their state, and they're not even a citizen of your state, which that's a whole nother issue where I don't think this new generation understands. They think of the United States like other countries, like, they don't understand the point in there being states and states' rights, and we're a collection of states, not really a country, if that makes sense how I'm trying to phrase that.
Yeah.
And,
it's, it's part of that education system where a lot of people don't understand that truly the federal government is not supposed to be as large as it is.
No,
the federal government was set up to only be there to handle arguments, or disagreements between states, and to make sure that states ran smoothly with themselves.
We've been having that argument. Our first constitution, the Articles of Confederation, I think it was. No, that's when I'm having a brain fart. But our first constitution was actually set up more as a confederation than what it is now. But we knew that what we had written was not going to last. It was not functional. And we had to come up with something new. So as we signed it, we're like, hey, we're putting, in order here, these guys are going to write an actual constitution for, a later date. Yeah, Hydra Bradley, thank you. And we've had the argument ever since because there was a faction that, wanted it more, the states to have more control, and a faction that wanted the government to have more control. But even the faction that wanted the government to have more control back then did not want them to have the level of control that they have now. And people are becoming increasingly more lazy and more wanting the government to provide for them rather than do for themselves. And as we have gone more from an agricultural society, which most of our revenue was until fairly recently, that whole move from any population you want to look at, where, people from the country moving to the city, it keeps happening. People are being replaced where, like my stepfather, when he was born, his father needed all the boys to work on the farm. Now, like, one person can run the farm. My brother runs the farm. There's not enough work there for everyone. And it's just not going to happen. And so you move, you go to the city, you get a job in the oil field, you go get a job somewhere else because you can't make the money in that small town. And as everybody keeps getting more urbanized, they keep getting more drawn in and addicted to what the government offers rather than being more independent. Where the more rural you are, the more you tend to be more independent. If that makes sense?
Oh, yeah. If you live in the concrete jungle, you're going to get the concrete jungle mindset.
Right. I'm kind of on the outskirts of all of it. I can see the concrete creeping out here. But, there's still game. There's still, everybody hunts, fishes. I can walk out the back door and go fishing. That's no problem. Now, the problem with that is if this whole, the world went to hell situation ever did happen, all the game and everything where I'm at would be hunted out very quickly. The lake would be fished out very quickly because we have so many people, and there's so many people here who can hunt, and there's so many people here who can fish. If you had to do it to feed your family in a very short amount of time, there would be no squirrels, there would be no rabbit, there would be no deer. We would instantly get rid of our hog problem because they would be gone.
Yeah. In certain areas, yeah, but there's a lot of people that don't understand how to hunt, how to fish. Yeah, okay, well, I can fish, but do you know how to clean it properly so you're not poisoning yourself, and stuff like that. You know what is edible if you go out and you're picking berries and stuff like that.
There's some things that I can remember from growing up. Like my Aunt Virginia, she was born in the 1800s, and she was married, and she's a different tribe. But I'd go hunting snake root with her, and we'd dig up snake root, and she'd dry it out on window screens, and these guys would come by and buy it. I think they were like pharmaceutical reps, and she would show me, you could eat this plant, you can't eat that one. We'd make poke salad and stuff like that. And this plant's used for medicine, this plant isn't. I can remember some of it. I can't remember all of it. I wish I could remember all of it, because that's some pretty valuable information, but I was a kid. And she died 30 years ago. So she ended up getting Alzheimer's, and that was very sad. But two of the figures that I had great respect for, family members that I had privilege of knowing, were both born in the 1800s. And that is just weird, thinking of it. Like my great-great-grandmother was born in 1880, and she was 40 years old before penicillin was a thing. She outlived 7 husbands. And just the knowledge that they had, and the things that they could do. And I guess some of my cooking style kind of comes from that, because I tend to prefer things that are simpler, easier to fix. Don't take a whole lot of preparation. I can do the whole lot of preparation. I can do what's needed if you don't have refrigeration, but I kind of like simpler meals, that sort of thing. It takes a little bit of preparation, but there's not a whole lot of ingredients. There's, it's just good food. You don't need, 17 spices if you're frying chicken, maybe 4 at the most. In fact, you really only need 2, because most people just use salt, pepper, and flour, maybe a little cayenne. But
I actually don't use salt when I'm cooking.
That's good if you can get away with it, because of all the salt that's already in our food. There's some things, it's like, I will want more salt. My wife will not want more salt. So I try to cook things where it's salt to taste. And there's a lot of things when you're cooking it, like, especially if you're adding a lot of potatoes or something that's going to suck it all up, you really need to taste it while you're cooking it, because it might need some more salt. But it's one of those things that's to taste. If it tastes good or it doesn't, and it can be subjective. So, but on the previous topic, that would be awesome if they could do that, and it would solve me a lot of problems of what I have to do. And there's these weird things like, driving through Illinois. You can drive through Illinois with a gun, but you can't stop. Not for gas, not for anything. So what if you break down? What if, too many things happen? It's too many questions. And a lot of things are, what if the right cop pulls you over? What if the right cop says anything? 9 out of 10 cops may not give a damn, but then that one cop out of 10. There's a small scale of that around Houston where HPD is not exactly gun friendly, but the sheriffs are more gun friendly. And then you get the surrounding counties, and they're all gun friendly. So, Dennis, can you hear my dog over the microphone?
Every once in a while, I can hear him shake.
Okay. Yeah, he keeps wanting to be a dog over there, licking himself. So, hopefully that's not being picked up by the microphone.
No. But, I think almost every one of us in the community probably has a pet or, a pet. Either we have cats or we have dogs. Some of us have both.
I've got both.
And the wife laughs as she's like, more of you, two of you guys have cats. Like, it's weird seeing how many of you guys actually have cats, and you look, are proud you have your cats. I'm just like, yeah, we love our animals.
Yeah, I've got a cat, and Amy has a cat, and we've got Dennis over here who just yawned. And my son has a little dog. It's, I think, a Parsons Russell. It's related to the Jack Russell. And he took that with him. He took the cat with him, but it didn't work out with the furniture. So took the cat back, and that's my cat. And my dog's wanting attention over here. He's like, pet me, pet me.
So what kind of Mastiff is he? A Bull Mastiff, a Neapolitan?
German.
Cool.
Great Dane. Crossed with a, Great Dane is a German Mastiff.
Yep.
And crossed with a boxer.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's got the goofiness of the Great Dane and the psychoticness of the boxer. Makes for a very destructive dog if you don't play with them. Not meaning to. I mean, they have bursts of energy easily. Sometimes the joke is he thinks he's a cat. Stay away from the computer. Okay. What did he just do?
What's going on, pups?
He wants attention. He just put his paw across my keyboard.
What?
Trying to see what he touched.
What's going on, puppers? Are you getting some attention?
He wants his rump scratched.
You want your belly rubbed?
Oh yeah. He always wants his belly rubbed. He looks like that meme of I broke my dog, and they're curled up in a weird position. He's not as lanky as he used to be, but he's not a puppy. When he was a puppy, he was a lot more lanky, and he started to kind of get wider and fill out as he's got older. I mean, he's still got long legs and stuff, but unless he's stretched out, you don't really notice it as bad as when he was younger. And he is very, very fast. Great Danes were created by crossing English Mastiffs with English or Bull Mastiffs with Greyhounds. And that's how they created Great Danes. And they can run. They don't look like they're moving as fast as they are, but they are. Get away from the microphone, will you? Go.
Yeah. I had a Merle, Great Dane. And it was funny as hell to see him in a 300ZX turbo sports car, with his head out the T-tops.
I had a DOT officer ask me for my co-driver's logbook. I'm like, I don't have a co-driver. That's my dog. Oh, okay. So at a distance, he thought someone else was in the truck. But, yeah, he's crazy. I think he's wanting to chew on the microphone. He thinks it's a chew toy. So he keeps trying to sneak over here. Got, what is it? Sam on. Dog, that hurt. Okay, if you can remember the tail when they shake, that is a weapon.
Oh yes. Yeah.
And he just hit me across the head about 3 times. Get away from the microphone.
I had a
Get over there.
120-pound brindle pit, like 2.5% body fat, and his favorite thing was to nail you with that tail. Man, that thing would hurt. It would leave bruises.
Oh yeah, it will definitely leave bruises. Definitely. I'm gonna see if I can set this up here out of the way. I don't know if I can, or if it will let me, or if it's gonna squeal being too close to the microphone. All right, is that squealing or anything?
Nope, no feedback.
No feedback. That's good because it's right next to the microphone. Yeah, I think he's trying to sneak up here and what's this thing called? Samsung. Not a Samsung, but Sun, just an N at the end of it. It's got like the 3 little legs that go down and a little poof thing at the top of it. And that's what I'm using for a microphone. You can screw a microphone stand into the other end of it. So if I get one of those adapters, I can use my other thing. And my wife doesn't understand. I don't know if y'all can hear that.
The wife yelling to watch the dog.
Huh?
When the wife was yelling, watch the dog.
Yes. Yeah, because he ran into the other room. Yeah, and she does not care. She's not exactly supportive of anything on like with the online thing, so that causes some issues. And that just is. So,
Yep. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time.
Yeah. I'm glad that I had it started up though, considering recent events that had happened. And I didn't get a whole lot from it because, I mean, I have a Patreon. It's not very big. I don't get a whole lot on it. But I hadn't cashed it out in a while because I was saving up to get something else for my channel. And I ended up having to use it because of not being able to work after my accident. And then there was the fundraiser that Barbecue did. You know, you put those together. And the St. Christopher Foundation, if you've ever heard of them or someone asked to donate, please do. They help me out too. There's only certain bills that they will help out with. They don't help with medical bills or anything like that. And they won't pay all of them. They'll approve you for X amount because they can only work with the donations they have. But they covered a few of the bills, and it's like everything put together got me through it. You know, what little I was able to get from my Patreon and the amount that I was able to get from the fundraiser that Barbecue did with the St. Christopher Foundation, which was the largest amount, was able to carry me through until, you know, I started getting some more money rolling in. And it's not like, you know, I have everything covered and everything's good. I'm still a few paychecks away from that, but I was able to pay everything that needed to be paid. And currently, I'm a little bit behind, but nothing's 30 days. And I should eventually be able to catch that up. And if I wasn't doing YouTube, if I wouldn't have started a cooking channel and a Patreon and, got in contact with people, like barbecue and everybody else, and of course yourself, I do not know what I would have done. So everyone that helped out, thank you. Because, every little bit helped out.
Oh yeah.
I've
I
got
mean,
one, huh?
I have a Patreon also, and you know, I use it to help with content. Because not everything's free. If you go to the range, or even like when I go to certain places and do videos, they charge money to go, for parking and stuff like that. It's like they can rack up real quick.
Yeah, and I was trying to save up the things that I'm wanting to get. I do need a new stove because not all my burners work on my stove, and it's too old to really be repairing. Um, the vent hood is so old that you can't get a filter for it that fits. I have to kind of makeshift one. And the two things that I would like to get are a vent hood with a microwave combo, where I can get the microwave off the counter and clear up counter space because I have a very small kitchen. And I would like to get a stand mixer, and that would help out with time and just effort and everything, because all my dough, all my everything, I mix by hand, folding it over and over and over by hand and kneading dough. So there's like almost no technology involved in any of my cooking except a gas stove. So, in a refrigerator, I do have a refrigerator. I need a bigger one, but I've got to get a window removed and turned into a door and remove the windowsill. And I can get it one where I have like the two doors that open up, because I've got a little tiny refrigerator, like just like one you'd have in a small apartment, and I've got a small deep freeze. And between the two is where I keep the perishable kind of foods. And then, like my prepper food, a lot of that I keep in 5-gallon buckets with a lid. And if you can get some of them air packs and stuff, put those in there, and I'll mix it up a little. It's not just pinto beans in there, but I've got rice, and I have pinto beans, and I have a couple of other kind of beans, and I have some bouillon and stuff like that in there to go with it, and some tea and stuff like that, things to make. And it's something that you can grab and go. And whether you're just going on a camping trip, or you need to get away because it's a natural disaster or something, or who knows what happens, a 5-gallon bucket is a very easy way to carry things. Hell, you can carry two of them on the end of a stick, one on each end, and you can carry it that way if you had to. It just opens up a lot of options. They also pack really well if you know what you're doing.
Oh yeah, buckets do come in handy.
And if you can find the small things of Spam, everyone wants to get the big ones. But if you can find the small ones, the little half-size ones, those are great for packing things. So you don't waste a whole, container of Spam when you're cooking. Because a lot of times that whole thing is a little bit too much, unless you've got a few people that you're feeding. Unless you just want to eat Spam, and you can slice up a whole bunch of Spam and fry it up and have a little feast on it. But you're really trying to stretch things out at that point. That's also, if you're one of the best things to take with you, whether you're camping for a long time, like if you're going to take an actual camping trip where you're cooking all your food, that makes up for its space and how much you're going to use it is rice. You know, a little salt, a little rice, and you'd have some bouillon or something with you. And if you're only feeding yourself or one other person, you can carry enough rice very easily, you know, and then you have the other things to mix with it or whatever you catch, you know, like you're on a fishing trip and you're out there for a week or two or a hunting trip. It's just one of those things that you can stretch a lot of things out with. And it's easy to cook. I'm sure there's someone who can't cook rice, but I think they can learn pretty easily.
You can cook rice in the microwave.
As long as you can get the water hot enough and let it sit for a while and absorb it, yeah, you can cook rice.
Yep. I mean, you can, you know, take a container, you know, microwave safe container, and get the water boiling, and then take and put your rice in.
Yep.
And then you put it back in the microwave, close the microwave, and don't turn it back on. Just let it sit in there for, you know, a while to, you know, slow cook and let the water absorb in the rice.
Cool. Yeah. And you don't even, you know, have to waste as much water. Water is going to be the heaviest thing you really got to carry. And, you know, if you're cooking something like you know, wild turkey or anything like that, you let that stuff cook down and then you add your rice to it. You know, and you use those juices to cook the rice.
You render all that fat out.
Huh?
I said you render all that fat out.
Depends on what you're doing. If you're making like your own stock, you know, yeah, you're going to get all the fat and everything out of it and all that sort of thing. If you're just like, you're cooking something to be cooking, you're basically cooking it all in its own juices. And if it's too much fat on the top, you're going to scrape it off. And some of that you can use for other purposes, which on the prepping side, those are things you do need to be saving. I mean, duck fat and all kinds of things, any source of grease or fat that you can use for something else, you know, you would need to be saving all of that.
Bacon grease.
Bacon grease is awesome. I've always got bacon grease somewhere. My grandmother always had a coffee cup on the stove and she was always putting bacon grease in it.
Yep, coffee can. You always had that coffee can.
Yep. Coffee can or coffee cup, and it'd have like, you know, piece of paper towel, or it'd have like a tea strainer or something stuck in it and you pour through. And yeah, that's another handy tool that I never heard of. You don't have to have a super huge one, but to have something like a tea strainer in your stuff somewhere.
Yep.
There's so many things you can use that for. You know.
So we've been joined by Mad Sexy out in the crowd.
Hello, Mad Sexy. How are you doing? It cooks you. Yeah. It's weird what we eat. And think of how hungry someone had to be to try it.
Right?
You know, I don't know. I mean, we used to chew on wheat like gum when we were harvesting growing up.
Or a piece of grass.
Yeah, a piece of grass, what have you. Like back to the whole stoned ape thing where, you know, even today, the more ripe things become, the more flavorful they become, the more nutritious they are. and we're kind of attracted to it. But apes in the wild will get drunk eating fruit that has started to ferment naturally, you know. And then we figured out how to do that, and we make beer and everything. And um, part of my family's from the former Czechoslovakia, so if you like um, Pilsner beer, that comes from Pilsen.
Yep.
Originally, the Germans did a great job with it, but we invented it. So if you're not drinking mead, honey beer, that sort of thing, you're appropriating my culture.
I, I like some good old Rausch beer.
Uh, I like a Pilsner or Kel. You can find that at like Specs or good liquor store kind of thing. Ask them what a Czech beer is, but it's also an acquired taste. It's a very dark beer. Shiner would fit most people's taste more in the dark beer sort of thing, more of an American palate, but it comes from kind of like the same thing because there were a lot of Czech immigrants down here. And then,
I'll drink really hoppy IPA, double IPA, and stuff like that. I go with the IBU, the International Bitters Unit.
yeah.
And so if it's not like a 70 or greater, I'm probably not going to drink it.
Yeah, if I'm drinking beer, it's either for my stomach or it's just because it goes good with what I'm eating, like a steak or something like that, or I'm cooking with it. Beer is one of them things that it takes way too much of it to get a buzz. I don't even know if I can get a buzz off of that anymore. You piss it out too quick. If you're going for that, and I'm drinking liquor at that point. But, beer is something completely different. I know some people drink beer and get drunk and all that and have fun. I think they're 12. I don't know. But I'm wanting, more of, I want something that, goes good with what I'm eating. Like, how people describe drinking wine. That's kind of what I'm looking for with a beer. It pairs good with whatever meal that I'm eating. Sorry, I had a cough.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing that beer is good for is if you take a 12-ounce can of beer and you add it to a gallon of water and give it to your tomatoes.
Eggshells are good too for tomatoes, roses. I can't remember the ingredients they add to it. But you keep a pitcher with water and you put all your eggshells in there. And then you pour that over your roses, your tomatoes, that sort of thing.
But the beer and the water will actually cause the tomato leaves to then produce like a poison, so you don't get your mealworms, your tomato worms and stuff like that, and your aphids will stay off of them because they don't like it.
One of the things my mom used to use, and it sounds weird, and it would kill everything but the stink bugs, is Grandpa used to chew cotton ball, and she'd put that in the sprayer, and she'd spray the garden with that because of the nicotine as a good insecticide. And it seemed to work good on everything but those big funky stink bugs. And they would get in all your cucumbers, your any kind of gourd, pumpkin, those kind of plants. And we were looking for something to get rid of those. But tobacco seemed to do really good at getting rid of everything but those. And according to this thing, I've been going for an hour and a half.
Yep.
Time flies.
That it does, especially when it was just a test.
Yeah, it's just a test. 5 minutes, I swear. It's like guns in the safe. I swear it was a 2-for-1. I've had that one, I promise. So, anyways, I appreciate it. And thank you for helping. Yeah, Mad Sexy saw what it's a good marinade. I marinated a steak and beer a while back. I've been craving steak. I don't know if it's because I've been healing and trying to heal a large portion of meat on my leg, and you are what you eat, and your body needs the protein. I don't know. But I've been craving like steak, specifically like red meat, something that's like medium with good char on the outside of it. You know, the whatchamacallit. But anyways, I am going to have to, I would say cut this one short, but I am going to have to end this and wash clothes and get ready for tomorrow. I got somebody over on Twitch. Awesome. Thank you. I've got a comment over there.
Mad Sexy.
That's Mad Sexy. Awesome. Awesome. I got a comment over there, and I noticed the symbol changed. So that is cool. That's cool. Let me see if it shows over here.
It will show on this stream, but I don't think it will actually show on the YouTube side.
No, it won't, but I just put a comment on the Twitch side.
Yep.
So that just showed up on the Twitch side. I don't know if anyone's ever watched me on Twitch before. So it's on Twitch.
So yeah, when I do my live streams on Saturday, I always use a Chromebook. It's easy.
If I highlight it, how do I highlight it?
If you click on the comment.
Oh, and I go to the little star?
Nope. Just click on the actual comment to bring it up on the screen.
Where it says show?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Now I learned how to do that. I did not know how to do that before.
So if you click on the star, that will put it off onto the side where it says comments or private comment or private chat. Then it will create a third and say starred. So like if you had like 6 questions come in, you could star a few of them, get to the comment, get to the questions, and then go back and pull up those ones. So you're not trying to, oh yeah, I got to remember all these all these questions. So it's a way of kind of saving them so that they're still there, and then you can go back and re-highlight them. And
yeah, so you can go back and deal with it later. Like if it's an important comment or something, you're talking about another subject, but you want to go back to it.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And I've never used this computer before. It's one of them little Chromebook things. It's not very big. And she said it doesn't have much memory left on it, but I don't think it needs much memory.
Yeah, you don't need any memory because you're not saving anything.
No, there's 1 or 2 things I need to download to it, and that's just so I can do the broadcast over to Rumble. And because Rumble makes you do that little 60-second clip thing.
Oh.
And I need to download something so I can click on that for the 60-minute clip and have it going. Hello, Super Bad Videos. How am I doing tonight? I'm doing a lot better. I'm going back to work tomorrow. I'm actually going to have to be up about 3 a.m. because I've got to pick up at 9:30.
Ooh.
And that means I have to be up at 3 a.m.
Yeah. You got to do all your pre-trip, which takes time to pre-trip everything.
Yeah, most drivers, when they do a pre-trip, means they filled out a piece of paper.
Well,
you see more people, actually at least checking their lights and stuff. It doesn't take that long to do a pre-trip, especially if it's the same equipment and you've been doing it for a while. You can look under the truck. Is anything leaking? No? Cool. There's no pools of anything under the truck. You can look at your slack adjusters and from a distance tell if they're in an adjustment or not. You can, you open the hood, make sure your belts are tight, make sure of everything else. And
check your tires.
Yeah, walk around, check your tires when you're checking your lights. And it's not that complicated. You see something leaking, you don't. Is it full? Is it not? It's not a complicated process.
Now, do you use one of those little mini bats, or do you use like a hammer when you check your tires?
I usually just kick them. I'm sorry. No, it's not that complicated. It doesn't take long, and you can do everything within 15 minutes. Do you look for soda cans stuck between the tires? I look for anything stuck between the tires, in the tires, sticking out of the tires, flat tires, pieces missing from tires. Tires can be a headache.
And tires are expensive.
Yes, they are.
What are they? $500 a piece?
Probably average that. I haven't had to actually buy my own tires in a few years. I think they've gone up. And steer tires are more expensive. You'll probably pay $700 and up for those. You can get cheap, any position tires that aren't going to last you very long for around $400 or $500. You're getting a good drive tire. You're probably going to pay $600-$700 for it. So they've gone up. Unless you got a guy that, hooks you up all the time. You got a place you go to. You're getting Japanese, Chinese, whatever tires, and you're buying $400 drive tires and $600 steers, and they are what they are. Some are good, some aren't. Whatever you have luck with. I generally like the last drives that I bought were Michelin XDN2s because I ran in a lot of snow. And that's just what I did. And I put my old tires back on the truck when I parked it, and I sold them and got a little money back out of it because I needed the money at the time. But no, I got to be over in Port Arthur at 9:30. So, and I got to pick up a trailer at Dana. So I need to leave Dana by 8 o'clock. And that's pushing it at 8 o'clock because who knows what I'll run into traffic-wise or whatever. And if I need to leave Dana by 8 o'clock, I need to leave the yard probably by about 7:15-ish because I got to find the trailer and pre-trip the trailer and all that good stuff. So if I need to leave the yard by 7:15, I need to get to the yard by about 6:30, minimum. And that means because I got to load the truck up with all my stuff. So I get there, I load the truck up with all my stuff, then I pre-trip the truck and, do my logbook, all that stuff. And then I head and go pick up the trailer, pre-trip it. And I might have to get fuel, I might not, I don't know. Because I just got my truck out of the shop and I don't know how much fuel it's got in it. And then super bad videos, got to go back to work. Well, enjoy your work and thank you for joining the chat. Basically, I'm probably going to stop somewhere, get my drinks and stuff on the way. So, let me see. I need to actually plan to be at the yard about 6 for that. So leave at 5. Yeah, if I leave at 5, I can stop, get my drinks and everything. And that means I'll have to be up at 3 to be able to leave the house by 5 o'clock, to be at the yard by 6.
Yeah.
6.
So that means you need to go to bed.
I still got to wash clothes.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
I got to wash my FRCs, and Amy was just coming down the hallway letting me know that she is hungry and she wants to eat something. That's why I muted a second ago. And probably gonna have to fix something to eat and wash my FRCs and all that stuff. And I'll probably just take like my FRCs and one pair of clothes. And this time of year, FRCs, booty shorts underneath them, and that's about it, because it's way, I don't know if you've ever had to wear those things, but it's way too hot down here, especially when it's hitting the hundreds. And we've got all the humidity and, big flame fire retardant coveralls, and it's just way too hot. Yeah, I'm not going to be, blue jeans and everything else underneath that. No. So.
Yep. Nope. I've never had to wear anything like that.
Well, everything I'm around explodes, catch fire, or it eats through everything. It's chemicals.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta have FRCs, flame retardant clothing, dressed up, look like Jason. All I need is a hockey mask and a machete. So, standing up on top of a big shiny tank, the heat radiating off of it, feel like you're gonna pass out. By the end of the day, you just got white stains all over these blue coveralls. And I haven't got like the coveralls to stand up before, but we used to take our shirts, you take them off and lay them flat and let them dry, and they'd have so much salt in them from the sweat, then you could stand them up in the corner.
Oh, yeah. I've done that, working in the heat.
Yeah, I actually work for a living. Everyone wants to be a door swinger. We can't get help because they come over where I'm at and figure out you got to drag a hose through knee-deep mud and everything else. And you've actually got to work. And that doesn't always work out good for people who do not want to work. But anyways, I'm going to have to figure out something to eat. I'm going to have to wash my clothes. And I got to take another COVID test and make sure that I'm testing negative. I know my wife is not. She has COVID. And probably why she has a little bit less of a give a damn than normal. I can't say anything. I think I yelled at my boss in either Czech or Russian. I don't know which. But I was tired. I hadn't slept in like 48 hours, and he called me, and I think it was my boss. I don't know. I know I suddenly got a few days off. So if that worked, that worked. If it was, that was probably a trip for him because he's a Hispanic guy. He's probably used to being the only one speaking another language. But well. I was tired.
Yep.
But I'm going to have to end the chat. And let me see. Oh, you wanted to be a lawyer. Yeah, my sister wanted to be a lawyer. She didn't finish her college, though.
Well,
Nettles are good for Iowa. Okay. I was trying to read the chat there real quick. See what I missed. A lot of things will slash your tires. Yeah. But anyways, thank you everyone who joined to listen. And thank you G23 for hopping in and helping me out with this. And I'm going to have to go because I got a lot to do. And at least it's one less little thing in the back of my mind that I'm trying to figure out how to fix because I've got my audio apparently cleared up. And I would like to thank everyone for your help, and especially you, G23, for hopping in and giving me some feedback and talking for a while.
You are so welcome, and glad everything's working good for you. And have a great evening.
You too. I will catch you later. And I'm going to hit this little end broadcast button. So thank you so much. I will catch y'all later. Check me out on Twitch, Rumble, and YouTube. I have a Patreon that is linked on my channel. And I will see y'all later. Thank you so much. Bye.